Dave Murphy joined the police force in Salt Lake City, Utah in 2006. He was assigned to secure buildings, including the Capitol City Theater, an old theater from the early 1900s. On his first day, he met Officer Morgan Matthews, who was focused on their work. They checked the control room with poor quality cameras. Morgan led Dave on rounds to secure the theater, making sure everything was locked and the lights were off. The basement, with its dim lighting and a central piano, felt eerie to Dave, and he didn't want to stay there too long. Dave and Morgan worked together on security rounds at the theater, but Morgan seems distant and eager to leave. Dave notices Morgan's behavior but doesn't know the reason. They continue their rounds, with Morgan training Dave. On August 9th, after 2 days, Morgan trusts Dave to do the rounds alone. Dave checks the entire building, starting from the basement and moving to the control room, auditorium, second floor, and staff offices. He finishes at the rehearsal room before completing his rounds. Dave enters the rehearsal room, checks inside, and finds it empty. As he's about to leave, he hears a loud slam from the bathroom across the hallway. Thinking someone might have sneaked in, Dave alerts Morgan via radio. Morgan checks the camera but sees no one. Dave, now with his weapon drawn, waits for Morgan's backup. He realizes the slamming door could mean someone is still inside the bathroom. Dave and Morgan both draw their pistols and cautiously enter the bathroom, prepared for any potential threat. After clearing the bathroom and finding no one inside, Dave and Morgan conclude that the intruder must have left and is hiding elsewhere in the theater. Ignoring the mystery of the slamming door, they continue their search with guns drawn. They meticulously check every room and find all the doors locked. As they head downstairs to the second floor, they remain alert and ready for any potential encounter. Dave and Morgan find lights on the second floor after Dave turns them off earlier. They search but find no one. They check the entire building but find nothing unusual. Despite feeling uneasy, they decide to ignore the incident and leave. On August 11th, Dave is absent, leaving Morgan alone at the theater. While in the control room, Morgan hears whispering behind him, like before with Dave. He feels uneasy and grabs his pistol, investigating the hallway. The whispers seem to move away as he steps out. He hears coughing from the basement, which scares him. Slowly, he descends the stairs, but the coughing stops. Morgan switches on the lights and looks around but finds nothing. The eerie experience leaves him shaken, especially after previous strange occurrences. Morgan checks all the basement doors and smells smoke from one. He investigates but finds no fire, just the smell. Despite searching, he finds no fire evidence. Unsure about calling the fire department, he decides against it after confirming no fire. Dave learns about Blair's encounter with the supernatural at the theater. Blair recalls hearing the elevator start up late one evening while working alone. Despite being the only one in the building, the elevator's loud engine caught Blair's attention, sparking his curiosity. Blair recalls looking out of his office's glass window into the foyer where the elevator was located. He noticed the lights indicating the elevator's position were lit up as it ascended from the basement to the upper floors. However, when the doors opened on each floor, no one emerged. Initially unperturbed, Blair assumed it might be maintenance-related. Yet, when the elevator alarm sounded due to a door obstruction, Blair grew puzzled as there seemed to be no blockage. Investigating further, Blair entered the elevator, feeling an abrupt temperature drop inside. As he turned to face his office, the doors began to close. Despite the alarming situation, Blair remained inside as the elevator descended to the basement, seemingly on its own accord. Upon reaching the basement, Blair hesitantly called out, but receiving no response, he felt increasingly unnerved. Alone in the dimly lit basement corridor, with the eerie presence of a piano, Blair's apprehension grew. Blair rushes back to his office after the strange events, trying to use the elevator to go back upstairs. But he hears banging noises from the foyer and finds the filing cabinets closing on their own. Despite trying to find a logical explanation, Blair decides to leave his night shift early and avoid being alone at the theater in the future. Dave and Morgan open up to each other about their eerie encounters at the theater and plan to invite Dave's friend Greg for a tour to validate their experiences. During the tour, they find an open door in the basement, and as they investigate, the door slams shut, alarming them. The door handle then starts rattling aggressively, heightening their fear and uncertainty. After the unsettling incident, reports of strange events at the theater increased, prompting the county to install new cameras with infrared technology. On September 15th, Morgan, alone in the control room, notices a figure in the main auditorium on one of the screens. The figure, cloaked and with chilling eyes, sends shivers down Morgan's spine as it turns its head, heightening the eerie atmosphere. As Dave is alone at the theater, he hears the distinct sound of piano music echoing from the basement. Armed and cautious, he descends the stairs, the music growing louder with each step. Just as he's about to reach the corner, the piano's protective cover slams shut, abruptly halting the music. Despite flipping on the lights and searching the area, Dave finds no one there. Realizing that something otherworldly is at play, Dave decides he's had enough. He remains in the control room until the end of his shift, then promptly informs his sergeant that he refuses to return to the theater, or he'll quit. Consequently, Dave is reassigned, and the theater is left without a dedicated security officer for 2 months. On November 26th, a new officer named Josh Thomas was assigned to the theater. On his first night, Josh calls for backup over the radio, reporting a break-in. Dave, despite his reluctance, responds, knowing the eerie truth that lurks within the theater. He feels he must support Josh and potentially shed light on the paranormal occurrences he's witnessed before deciding never to return. As Dave arrives at the theater, he notices Josh standing just outside, looking visibly terrified. Josh explains that he heard strange voices in the basement during his security rounds and encountered unusual activity with the elevator. Dave, sensing the gravity of the situation, suggests they search the building together. After a thorough sweep, they find no signs of intruders. Before leaving, they stand on the main stage, conversing. Suddenly, Josh freezes, staring past Dave's shoulder. Sensing something amiss, Dave turns around slowly and immediately understands what has caught Josh's attention. The eerie encounter at the theater left both Dave and Josh shaken. While Josh initially suspected an intruder, Dave was inclined to believe it was another manifestation of the mysterious entity haunting the theater. Despite their thorough searches, they couldn't locate the cloaked figure again. Dave later shared the theater's history, revealing a tragic fire in the 1940s that claimed a man's life in the basement. This revelation led Dave, Morgan, and Josh to conclude that the apparition they encountered could be the ghost of the man who perished in the fire. With these unsettling experiences weighing heavily on his mind and the theater's dark history in mind, Dave knew it was time to sever ties with the theater for good. However, the eerie stories and unexplained encounters would continue to haunt him, serving as a chilling reminder of the mysterious forces that lurked within the theater's walls.